Are money problems causing problems in your relationship? You're not alone. Come with us as we dive into it.
In this video, we are going to go through 5 easy steps on how you can handle money and make budgeting less stressful.
Yeah.
We'll see why financial planning can be so difficult for couples and how
Yeah.
small changes can make a big difference in creating good money habits in marriage.
Hi, I'm Chris, and this is my wife, Shelby. Come with us as we dive into practical applications that will help you and your spouse be on the same page about money.
Today, we are going to talk about 5 simple steps to handle money problems in relationships.
Wow.
How important is this topic?
Very important.
It is. There's so
Yeah.
many people that struggle in this area, whether they talk about it or not. It's kind of
Yes.
taboo.
It's kind of a touchy subject.
Yeah,
People just do not want to mess with
they
it.
don't want to talk about it, but it's a huge reason
Yeah.
why couples get divorced.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so I think we have to cover topics like
Absolutely.
this,
Yeah.
because we just love marriage so much,
Yeah.
and it's important to have strong relationships, and these are the things
Yeah.
that help
with
us
that.
to have strong relationships.
We've talked about this before in past episodes about having a firm foundation, having planted in that, and how we move forward and how it's a good plan so that you can be successful.
Yes, exactly. So step 1 is understanding the real issue.
Yeah. Okay. So why is it so difficult for finances and marriage?
Well, I think there's a lot of reasons for that, but one of the big ones is fear that surrounds money. So when
Yeah.
when someone feels like there's a lack, or whether there is really a lack or
there
is
isn't.
not,
Yeah.
but they feel like there is a lack, or they feel like they are approaching money differently, it produces fear. And so that you approach something with fear, and it's very difficult to be rational about it.
Wow. Yeah.
Very difficult to
Yeah.
come to an agreement about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, what would cause some of that
A
fear?
lot of that could come from how you were raised. A lot of that could come from maybe your personality. I mean, we have different personalities, so even in our own circumstances,
Yeah.
the way that we look at things, especially when it comes to the money.
Yeah.
So those are just a few ways or things that could cause.
Right. Well, and you mentioned personality. We have different money personalities.
Yeah, absolutely.
And people have that. Like,
yeah.
I mean, for example, in our relationship, our personalities, Chris is a spender.
Wait, whoa, time out.
It's okay. We've talked about this.
Yes, we have
Almost
discussed
50
this.
years.
Yeah.
We've talked about it.
I'm the spender.
Yes. And I am definitely the saver.
Yes.
So there's good and bad to
Yeah,
both of those
absolutely.
things.
Yeah.
Right? Like
So-
I would say, for one thing, being a spender, you have caused us to go on many more trips, take more adventures, because
I
you're
thought
the
you were about to
spender.
say go into so much debt. I was like, hold on. No. But you're right. Like I'm like, no, it's valuable. We need to go do certain things, like you're saying about taking trips and kind of be a little bit more adventurous. Now, you come along for the ride, so it's not as though you're not a spender too. Okay.
I'm excited about it.
But on the other
initial
side,
yes, we're gonna spend on this. That's the scary part.
it
for
is,
me.
yeah, I know that it is. And so if it wasn't for you in this part of the relationship, who is the saver, then when we come into maybe an emergency of some kind, we wouldn't have anything put away for when we need to, I don't know, fix the car or something comes up. So there's, again, as we were saying, different personalities in spending or in finances. And so, yes, this is, again, one of those things that unpacking can be a little difficult.
Yes.
Can be
So
a little
you come in with different personalities, and you also come in with different experiences
yep.
that maybe have caused fear. And so you're approaching a situation that can be tough. And so that makes this hard. It's so important that we understand what the real
Yeah.
issue is.
Yeah.
So that's step number one.
Yep. So step number 2 is 2 becoming 1. So the question with that is, should married couples have a separate bank account or should they have a joint account?
Wow, this is a
That's
hard
a
one because we
touchy,
know that probably you have a very strong
strong
opinion
opinion.
about this. But we're going to tell you that we think that you should have a joint account.
Yeah.
And there's quite a few reasons for that.
Mhm.
What would you say a big reason for having a joint account is?
So when you become one, scripturally, you leave your mother and your father, you come together as one, everything is together or everything is now one. It was 2, but when you have committed that and you've covenanted that, it's together as one.
Yes, so that is huge.
Yeah.
We think that you should have one bank account because that means you're operating as one
one,
in
yep.
every single thing that you do.
There's something else that I really think with finances that most people will avoid because they don't even want to communicate. So the biggest thing with money or having a joint account really is having to have communication.
Yes, it brings that out. It really highlights
It does.
communication, and it's a way that you can grow together. I think that's one of the things that maybe is overlooked. Many times people just look at money as a way that maybe there's tension, there's
Yeah.
arguments.
So they try to avoid it, so they just detract
Yeah.
from it.
But what if it was actually a way that you and your spouse could come together and you could have deeper communication?
Building unity there.
Yeah.
Ooh, ooh.
Yeah.
So I will say this, there are very rare occasions where there may need to be a separate account. We are not justifying that it's just because you want one.
Right.
What we're saying is there are and there may be potential issues or circumstances where that might need to happen.
But that is the exception,
Rare.
not the rule.
Very rare, and is not that's exactly right. It's not the rule.
And I definitely think that we want to highlight that just like you communicate throughout marriage about money, you should talk about this before you get married.
Absolutely. Premarital counseling and include the money, include the financial, which I know there are a lot of premarital counseling sessions that people will go through, and they do talk about that.
Yes.
So great, kudos. But it does need to really, really be in conversation prior to getting married.
Yeah, lay it out on the table.
Yep.
Like if you're in debt, you let that person know this is what you're inheriting.
Right. That's true. That is true. Nope.
Once you're married.
Yeah.
But talk about it. It's definitely things you can talk through.
For sure.
But we would say that step number 2 is that the 2 become 1, and that includes in finances.
Yeah.
Okay, this leads us to step number 3 is create a spending plan. So how should you set up a budget? Or we like to call it a spending plan.
Yeah. Call it what you want.
Budget seems like it's limiting. That's why we don't like budget. Spending plan is like, oh, we get to spend here. Oh, the spender in the family doesn't agree.
What was it? My face? I don't know. I'm just every kind of plan of money or budget is correct in what she just said. Yes, it's putting a stranglehold on me. So
it
no,
gives freedom.
It does give freedom. So here's what I'm going to say about that. Find a tool that works for you, and preferably one that you can write it down. Mm-hmm. Put it on paper. Some people are more modern. I get it. So get on Google Drive or whatever and put it on a doc. Great. But put it somewhere. Tools that we have used and what we've done really helps her see it very like right at the moment of spending. So there's been times, I'll say it this way, that it's like, hey, I just noticed that you were at so-and-so. And then you're like, it's not spying. What it really was is, I need you to pick up some milk. Oh, okay. Since you're there, please grab some milk. So it's just funny, but it really just get a plan or not a plan, but a tool that will work for you to be able to see that. And writing it out helps. Go ahead.
Well, there's been a couple tools. Chris mentioned you could write it on paper. You
Yeah.
could do it on Google Drive. We've used Excel. We've
Yeah.
used Every Dollar because you can put in everything you're going to bring in that month, and you can make a plan for where it's
that
going
money's
to
going to
go.
go. Yeah. Yeah.
And that has been probably my favorite tool
Of course. Wonder
that we've
why?
used because it's organized.
Yeah, I know.
But it also allows us both to see it.
Yeah.
And I think that you want to work with your strengths here. So we talked about joint accounts.
Yeah.
We have a joint account, but when it comes to the budget, I usually start it. So I usually set it up, but then we go through it together.
I go line item by line item.
We talk exactly about what we put in each fund, what's going to come in for the month, what's going to go out for the month, and we literally go through line by line what the plan is. And I think the cool part about this is it's not me setting that up and telling you what we're going to spend, right?
How's that going to work for you if you try to
will not
tell me what to do like
and
that?
it won't.
It will not go well for anyone.
We have experienced that.
You know, let's actually, at the heart of that, we want to not sound insensitive about that, because it can really cause some burden and some problems. So seriously, in this part, what we do, especially when we go through our budget plan or our financial plan, whatever it is that we're going through, and we've done it where it's been before in the past weekly and sometimes bi-weekly, and now we're more monthly. But what we do specifically over that is section out the money in agreement on where things are going to go, and then we literally pray over it. Physically put it out in front of us and pray over every single decision that has been made.
Yes, we take that time, we pray over it, because we believe with a plan, God honors you having a plan, but it also gives both people ownership in the budget, or in the spending plan. Because it's not me telling Chris what he's going to spend, or him limiting me in what I'm going to spend. It allows us both the freedom to know where our money is and know that we've set that plan.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
So along with each line item that we have, one time that we were going through our budget, and remember, we've done this for a long time.
Lots of decades.
Yeah. So one of the times as we're going through, we always have a category of like my spending money and Chris's spending money. We know we're going to spend money each month. We've got a category of like, I'm going to spend this amount, or I can spend this amount.
Yep, whatever.
Doesn't matter where it is. I could get my nails done. I can get coffee. I could spend it all on chocolate. Whatever you choose. And Chris is the same. He's got that same amount.
I do not spend it on chocolate. I do not do my nails. I don't get my hair done. That is not what I do. But
you have your own.
But I can spend my money, my amount that we've agreed upon, that we have in our spending plan, anywhere I want. It's free money for us to do what we want.
Yeah. So as we're going through our plan, Chris notices.
Well, hold on. How long ago was this? Because we started that a long time ago. And it was when we first initially set it up on coming off of paper, and we went to the electronic tool.
Yeah.
And this is where, so catching you back up, where this came out.
So Chris notices that there is Chris's money, my money, and then another account that says Chris's fun money. And he's, we talk through all of them, and he's like, wait, what is this?
Yeah, there was a little separate account of money. I said, what is that?
And I said, well, we know that we say you're going to spend this much a month. But what you really spend is this much a month. So we just decided we're going to set it aside. We know it's going to happen. So we're going to make a plan.
That really goes back to the beginning of this conversation, where one of us is a spender, the other one's not. One's a saver. And so we had a separate extra spending fund for me. So, but it was comical. I mean, it was kind of funny. So number 4 is to revisit the spending plan.
Yes, and so you've created your plan, and so it's gonna be important that you come back together,
Mhm.
maybe in a week or 2 weeks, and see how it's going.
That actually is something that in the middle of a month, in certain cases, that I've actually been like, okay, this issue came up. Where are we at? We need to go back and we revisit. And so we sit down with that again, make the adjustment. And do you have an example of when we would need something like that to happen?
Yeah, there's been several examples. I mean, we have kids in all sorts of activities.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are times where it comes up, they maybe need a fee for their sport,
Yep.
or they need a new pair of shoes, or something for their
Something.
uniform.
Yeah.
And so those things come up. Life happens.
Yeah. It
So
does.
it's so important, I think, that our spending plan don't etch it
So
in stone.
rigid. Yeah.
Okay,
No,
it's not going to work.
It's okay to go back and revisit your spending plan.
Yes, but when you go back, you just want to talk about, okay, this has come up. Where is it going to come from? And the two of you together make the adjustment.
Yep. That's good.
Okay, so step number 5 is to get some help. Not you.
You
In
looked at
money.
me and you said, "Get some help." You're like,
In money. Get help in money.
oh, that's hilarious. Okay, so question on this one then is, how do you navigate
Getting
situations, getting help, that kind
Yeah.
of stuff? How do you navigate that?
Well, I think there's several things.
Okay.
Number one, it's so important that you know what the Bible says about money.
Mm.
And so that always needs to be your guide.
Baseline.
And as a couple that you agree on that.
Yeah.
And that should be done early on.
Yeah.
But that should always be the guide. So
Mhm.
that, I think, is number one, as far as getting help on money. What else do you think is a good?
So, if needed, because there are so many services out there, if you have to get some type of professional help with that, there's nothing wrong with that. Go get it. We don't have it all figured out. We've figured things out as we've gone, but if you need more help or you need that assistance, go find that help. There's a lot of good, faithful people that are leading others in finances.
Right. And you might even find it at your local church. You might find a class on finances.
Ooh, that reminds me. We did a class once.
We did.
I remember that.
Years
It's been a
ago.
long time ago, but yes,
Our
I do
church
remember
did a
that.
class on it,
Yeah.
and we just always thought anything that we can get, any wisdom that we
Yeah.
can get for marriage, we should take advantage
Absolutely.
of that. And so we did do a class, but that's huge because
Yeah.
then you have other people around you that have the same mindset, and
They've done it already
they've got
and
some
they can
wisdom.
help. Yeah, wisdom. I was going to say that's exactly where it comes right
Right.
there. So these are the 5 steps that we recommend regarding finances.
So when we talked about getting help, it's also important that you look at books.
Oh,
And
yeah.
we've mentioned on this show before the 7 Sacred Pathways to Intimacy. That book has a specific pathway that is the financial pathway. We'll leave a link for that for you to get a free copy of it in the description of this video so you can be on your way to creating those good money habits in marriage.